This is Shawn Michaels, former WWE Superstars, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, we're back. Welcome to In Your Head Wrestling Radio. I'm Jack, along with my right-hand man.
I am 1-inch biceps.
And usually we have the guest on here at 8:30, but we've got this guy was so big we had to have him on right at the start of the show. So we're joined by Chris Masters. Welcome to In Your Head.
The artist formerly known as Chris Masters now at this point. I guess Chris Mordetsky.
Chris Mordetsky, all right.
Okay.
Are you all right with that, going by Chris Mordetsky?
Well, you know what? This is still so new. I mean, that's my real name, so I'm going to obviously introduce myself under my real name. I mean, Vince said it on TV one time anyway, so, I mean, or you can call me Chris Masterson, whatever you want.
Right. Chris. I guess
Anything but the masterpiece Chris Masters, I think, at this rate.
Oh, okay. You speaking when he called you Mordetsky, I think that was in the infamous The Trial for Eric Bischoff.
Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was. I'm just like everybody else, I was kind of surprised by that. That was, it's not too often that kayfabe is broken like that, but it's kind of cool at the same time. You know.
Mm-hmm. That must have been a fun segment to be part of, though, because that was a lot of fun to watch.
Well, it was, but the crazy part of that day was Kurt Angle had gotten hurt the day before, and I had just found out a couple hours prior to that I wasn't packing anything, that I had to go to Afghanistan to fill in for Kurt Angle. So, in between us shooting that at an actual courthouse, I was running around to freaking Sports Authority, everywhere you can possibly think of, trying to stock up for a week trip to the Middle East. So it was definitely it was one of the craziest days I've ever had over there. It was just hectic, and one day you think you're going home, and I packed for 3 days, and you think you're going home. Next thing you know, you find out on the day you're going to the Middle East. Imagine that.
Oh, when they do those shows in the Middle East, what is it like, being part of those?
You know what? Those really, I looked at it from a selfish perspective. That specific year, just because they gave me such short notice, and I had plans that week, and it was all about me. And, part of me also wondered if, how many these people are actually wrestling fans, or how many of these troops are going to really care. Mm-hmm. Thing is, when you get there, man, you really realize how much we really take them out of their everyday element, you know what I mean, their everyday routine. It was an escape for them, and, you know what, it's something I'll take with me to the grave. I mean, it was, that, and even the one in Iraq as well, I mean, they really genuinely appreciate it, and it's just, it's heartfelt, you know what I mean? I mean, like what you see is, as far as the special that they broadcast, I mean, it's emotional stuff, but I mean, it's really like that out there. I mean, you just, I don't even know how to put it into words, but I mean, you can't know it until you actually go, and like I said, I was very selfish about it first, but once I got there, and I saw the reaction, and I saw how much everybody was excited to have us there, I mean, it felt like, this was bigger than me.
Yeah.
This was something that was bigger than me, bigger than what I have to do. These guys are out there, they're risking their lives in the freaking Middle East, for God's sakes. It's like, and it felt good to go out there and entertain them. It wasn't about, obviously that trip is not about money or anything. Vince takes it very seriously, like he compares it to WrestleMania, because he's a very patriotic guy, so. I'm glad I had those experiences. The Iraq one was a lot easier just because I knew ahead of time. Right. Afghanistan, I found out the day of, so that was a little bit, that was a little harder of an experience, but still very rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Was it just an honor to even be asked, since they don't take the whole roster on those shows?
Well, the thing is, for which one, Afghanistan. At that point in the company, I was probably the number 2 heel at that point. You know what I mean? I was being, that's when they were about ready to give me the ball. You know what I mean? I was working with Sean and everything like that. So, I mean, it didn't come as a surprise. I kind of figured, I'm like, with Kurt down, I kept, I was debating myself. I'm like, man, next in line, I'm pretty sure they're going to end up calling me. And next morning at breakfast, I'm meeting with Davari and Carlito. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking I'm in the clear, and then I get that phone call from John Laurinaitis, and he tells me, "Gotta go to the Middle East." So I'm like, I expected it anyway. All right.
Right. We should get the caller here. We got Jason on the line.
Okay.
Hey.
And you got a
What's
question?
up, Jason?
Oh, not much. How are you?
Been better, been worse, but my head's held up high, and I'm very optimistic about the future here.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do actually. Chris, I wanted to ask you about training with UPW, knowing that was that is one of the best schools to train at. What was it like working with them, knowing who all they trained, and did you have any expectations going into it?
Going into, we're talking about Ultimate Pro Wrestling?
Yes.
When I first started UPW, it's actually a funny story. I started when I was 16, believe it or not, or maybe 17, and me and John Cena started the same day. Very same day. We started training for wrestling. Thing is, I was a lot younger, obviously. I fractured my ankle, and I ended up having to have surgery about 3 months in, working with Andrew Bernardsky. So at that point, I realized what the WWE was looking for, because at that point, Cena was, probably even 30 pounds heavier than he is now. He was a freak. And, by all means, he still is, but, I started to see what WWE was looking for, and I took the time to mature as a person, but also just, get in the gym and work out, because, being at 16 years old, you know what I mean, I was just like, maybe I should take some time to step away from it, work out, mature, and then take another crack at this at 19, because I knew I wanted to do it, And like I said, that's one perception I had. I just want to clarify again. I do this in every interview. So many of the internet fans, quote unquote, think that a bodybuilder turned wrestler. When the only reason I ever stepped foot in a gym was to be a professional wrestler. I'm right there along with all the wrestling fans. On the internet, all over the world. You know what I mean? And it's just like this was my passion, just like it was most of the other guys that were on the roster. It was my passion, it was my dream, and that was just, I felt like the first logical step in order to achieving that.
Do you think that's a good place to get noticed, since, you and John Cena, and there's been other guys who have come that same pathway from there to, OVW to WWE? Oh,
yeah, definitely. Definitely. As far as the West Coast, you know how it is. Wrestling's pretty much solely based out of East Coast, or, the East, or... So, you have some action going on here in the West as far as indie promotions and stuff like that, but primarily based out there, and, UPW was a good, really hot spot for a while, just as far as recruiting, guys with the look, as they call it.
Did you have anything else, Jason?
No, and thank you for answering my question, and take care.
Thanks for calling.
No problem. You too, man.
Yep.
You talked about the look. People on the internet, they say that they hired guys that all look the same. Do you agree with that, or do you think, to be on top in WWE, you have to have that look or something about you that stands out?
Yeah, well, it goes like this. You got to be, you got to stand out. You have to be able to be the type of guy, or even woman for that matter, who can walk into a restaurant and turn heads, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You gotta have that presence, or that look, or, something where somebody looks at you and they're like, well, what does he do? You know what I mean? And, that's pretty much what it comes down to. It doesn't even necessarily come down to how big and jacked up you are. This isn't bodybuilding, it's wrestling. But, cosmetics play a big part, but it's not just about necessarily your body or anything like that. It's just about, having a presence. Presence is very important, you know what I mean?
Right. Some guys will stand out by the way they talk or the moves they do, and some guys will stand out by, what they look like.
Exactly. You got guys. Yeah, that's the perfect way to lay it out right there.
We got Brian on the line. Do you have a question for Chris Masters? Chris Mordetsky?
Yeah, I had two, actually.
What's up, Brian?
Oh, hi. My first question for you was just out of curiosity, how much you bench? Just something like really heavy.
Well, you know what, to be honest, as of right now, I don't even think I could put up a 45-pound bar. But normally, typically, I don't know. I'm not a power lifter. I don't train, I just train at least to stay sharp and look good. I mean, I don't go anywhere over 350 pounds. I mean, I'm sure I could for a max set, but, for me it's just about not getting injured and just, staying sharp. So, but, my elbow injury, obviously, I think pretty much everybody knows I dislocated my elbow in my last match. So, I haven't been able to work out in about a month.
And the other thing I was wondering...
That's right around Incher's range, I think. I think the 350, that's right around Incher's range, right around where he is.
You better believe it.
What was the other question?
Yeah, the thing that I was just wondering about, since you're not in the WWE anymore, have you thought about, besides wrestling, competitive bodybuilding, or is that something that's too difficult to get into? I mean, you look like you could definitely do it.
Bodybuilding forever, from this point and forever on, will be a hobby to me. I don't see it as a profession. I picked up I wanted to become a professional wrestler, and I picked up, bodybuilding became my hobby. I mean, it just became, I just worked out like crazy. But, I would be opposed to doing it, not actually as a career, but, like just doing a contest at some point just to say I've done it and see how I can fare. But, it just doesn't really interest me getting up there in small, little tiny trunks and posing with other guys. I guess it's a lot more appealing getting in small trunks and wrestling with them. That sounded terrible.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem.
So, let everybody know, you said about your injury in your last match, and I actually read on your blog that, there's a lot of rumors out there that, like, Undertaker, he punched you in the face, or he hurt your arm or anything, but do you want to say, like, what really happened there?
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's like I wrote in the blog. I mean, the only reason I addressed it is because, I'm not much of an internet guy until, post obviously release, you know what I mean? I got my MySpace page, finally my official MySpace page up, which is Chris Mordetsky Official at MySpace.com.
It's actually MySpace.com/Chris Mordetsky Official.
Yes. And basically, I just wanted to clarify, I kept hearing time and time again about, Undertaker purposely injuring me or that I wasn't selling for him, and that's the most ridiculous thing I heard. I felt compelled to clear the air on that because, everybody had such a misinterpretation of what happened. I wrestled over in Europe for that 2 weeks, and I worked Rey Mysterio on one night, and then I would team with Fit against Undertaker and Kane on the next night, and we would alternate throughout the whole. It was a 2-week tour, so and every match was great. You know what I mean? Like I can honestly say I really found my passion. I found my fire again, and I was the guy I was a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? I really felt like my old self. I felt like my old self again. My head was clear, and I was really ready to freaking take the ball again if they were willing to give it to me. But so what ended up basically happening, just to get to the point here, is I was working with Kane. I was working in there with Kane. I was working on his leg. I put his leg on the bottom rope, and I was doing the basically the ass squash. If
right.
If anybody's been watching wrestling knows what I'm talking about. I squashed his leg twice, and then on the third one, I went over the top rope, and basically as I was posting on the apron, my body flipped over, but my arm didn't come with me, and it hyperextended and dislocated it, so I fell down to the floor, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. Undertaker came over, he started putting the boots to me, because I was on the outside of the ring, where he had no idea that I was hurt, and, at that point I started, I was evaluating my injury, and then, I informed everybody in the match that, my arm was screwed, it wasn't going to, I didn't know if I could do anything because the muscles were spazzing, and I couldn't find a comfortable position, and, I had to get in there to do, we still had a lot more stuff to do in that ring, and at that point, I was pretty much useless. I mean, I was on the outside. I fit back in. I rolled back to the outside. I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on, and then they sent the trainer out. I mean, I pretty much knew from that point on, like, man, I need to get to a hospital right away.
Mm-hmm.
When you read something like that online, though, does it make you like wonder where they get it, or do you think people just?
Well, I mean, this supposedly was from a fan sitting front row, and he was saying that Undertaker was telling me to sell my arm, and Undertaker was pissed off at me. Can I say that? I can say that.
Yeah, you say whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay, good. And I'll curse away. No, I'm kidding. But basically, the thing, and like, I want to clear up that misinterpretation because I had, I've had a rough year as far as professionally and personally over this past year. But, I really picked up the pieces over this tour, and like, me and Ray, I mean, we toured the house down in Manchester. It was $1 million house every single night. Honestly, God, I was on.
Mm-hmm.
And Undertaker also was very, we were doing good business. We were working very well together, and he was very happy with it. So, like, that's why I kind of felt to, tell everybody, like, no, like, first of all, Undertaker is the most professional guy. Probably, he's one of the most professional guys, if not the most, that I've ever worked with. And first of all, from the bottom to the top of the card, we put our bodies in each other's hands, and that's just, that's a huge no-no. I mean, nobody goes out there and purposely injures somebody just because they're mad about, a bad spot, or just because you're not doing something that they're expecting or whatnot. I mean, yeah, of course it has happened before, but I mean, we're talking the Undertaker here. He's the locker room leader. He is the end-all, be-all, So, I just wanted to clarify that because, that's just ridiculous. The guy is so well respected, and he would never do.
Yeah.
He would never do anything like that. He's more professional than that, and like I said, that was, I have nothing but great memories from that tour. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, the events after sucked, no doubt about it. But at least for that last couple of weeks, I was really, really, I was really cooking, and I felt good.
Mm-hmm.
And every match was on. There wasn't one match that was off. You know what I mean? Because one of my problems is, just through dealing with all the stuff I've had to deal with. I mean, I could be on and I can be off. I wasn't consistent enough, but I was really ready to, just really devote myself and put myself into it.
Yeah, and let everybody know, and most people probably know, but you were recently let go from WWE. Do you want to tell everybody, how that came about?
Well, where do we start? Okay. Basically, the injury occurred. I was sent home about 4. They fixed me up over in Nottingham, England, and then from that point on, I was on a plane within about 4 hours back to the United States. And by the way, they mistakenly had put me in coach, which was, I felt, I tried to do everything I could change it because they're supposed to fly you first class, but I was a little upset about that. But no big deal, you know what I mean? I had an ILC, you know what I mean? But I was in a lot of pain. I mean, it was a rough injury. I'm still recovering from it.
Mm-hmm.
But so then I get home and then I'm pretty much figuring, okay, I'm injured, but you know what? I went out on a good note. Everybody was telling me just to get back, and when you come back, come back the way you are right now. And so I was very optimistic about coming back and just. Getting my, just, going out there and tearing it up and doing the best I could, and really making an impact in wrestling because I love it. I want to do it. And so the first thing is, it was on a Friday, which I believe at this point was last Friday that I got a call from Aegis, which is our wellness policy. That's our wellness policy program, and out of 3 tests. They tested me 3 times. 3 times when I first came back, and there was one of the tests that tested positive for a substance that was against the wellness policy, which quite honestly, it caught me by surprise. I called Dr. Rios, which is the WWE doctor. I called John Laurinaitis. I called Aegis and Dr. Black himself, and I demanded I don't want to say demand, but I asked the man to test me again. Test me 3 times a week. Test me 5, whatever. You know what I mean? Because the fact of the matter is that I hadn't touched anything. Honestly, to my knowledge. So it came. It really came as a shock to me. It really did. And then and then from that point on, suspended for 60 days. And I was like, okay, suspended for 60 days. Sucks, but ultimately I was kind of preparing myself because I was like, well, this isn't good because this is right after the the mass suspension that we had where everything hit the fan finally from the Chris Benoit situation.
Right.
And so I was a little uneasy, and then Tuesday rolls around. They had the CNN special, and with Vince McMahon, and then they were. I'm sure everybody out there saw that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Or mostly everybody saw that. Anybody who was interested.
Right.
And then it was the next day that I received the phone call, and like I said, I was prepared for it. And to be honest, over the last year, after with the way I was being used and everything, I was really debating whether WWE was the place for me at that given time for many reasons, not because of the company itself, but also just because of where I was at in my personal life, and dealing with just dealing with so much, dealing with one thing after another. I mean, it was a tough year. Mm-hmm. But anyways, basically, so that's ultimately what I got the phone call on. So as of Monday, I was suspended 60 days, and then Wednesday released. And again, I mean, I guess I kind of prepared myself, and like I said, I'd already been thinking about that for, I can remember, maybe, what was it? It was about, when I came back from my first, when they sent me in for rehab, and I left for 60 days, it was when I came back that I kind of felt like I wasn't being used to my potential, and it was starting to get frustrating. And I'm not pointing the finger at them, though. You know what I mean? Because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody listening right now, everybody on the planet, we all make mistakes. We all drop the ball. You know what I mean? And it's just, to me, it's about picking it back up. You know what I mean? Like when I got released, I didn't sit, I didn't mope, I didn't crawl into a ball. I got off my ass, and I started, reevaluating it. It's like, okay, so what do I do from here? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, do I love professional wrestling enough to stick around and keep doing it, or I'm in Hollywood? Do I? It was kind of like you reach a crossroads. You're kind of like, okay, your dream, like that. Wrestling for WWE was my dream.
Right. If you want to be a wrestler, the ultimate goal is to work for the WWE.
Oh yeah. So I mean, obviously there was a lot of stuff going through my mind. It almost, it just felt like, I got to figure out, okay, well, what am I going to do? What should I do with myself now? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I have a couple outside projects actually that I'm working on. Like I said, I'm dead smack in the middle of Hollywood, which is a great place for opportunity and stuff like that. And I know some people out here, and I'm trying to, hopefully there'll be a couple of projects put together. I don't really want to discuss detail just because I always feel like that jinxes it. But then as far as professional wrestling goes, I just thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? I've freaking my whole life has been professional wrestling. My whole life, you know what I mean? And mm-hmm. I mean, I know it's cliche, and it's probably, I'm sure a majority of the guys say the same thing and everything. But I mean, it really was. It just got to the point where when I was 16, I was like, I don't like anything else but wrestling. So, I at that point at the height, I was really skinny though, and I was like, you know what? I want to be a pro wrestler. And from that point on, it was on.
Right. I'll get back to that one second. Because we got a caller here who's been on hold for a little while. Who is this? The caller?
Hello.
He's not
Just
in.
calling to eavesdrop onto the show.
Maybe did they get a little scared?
I think they're intimidated. They're
They
intimidated by.
they got some cold feet.
I think so. Well, we'll let everybody know here, if you want to book Chris Masters for any appearance, you can email masterpiece83@gmail.com. You can check out the MySpace, which we'll have a link up on the website. It's myspace.com/Chris Mordetsky official, or you can call 310-663-6811. Now, since you're still recovering from the arm injury, are you taking wrestling appearances, or maybe just autograph appearances right now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm doing appearances. I did have an autograph signing for this Saturday, but I'm not able to do it just because I have another 2 internet radio interviews to do on Friday, and I can't possibly do that while I'm flying in the air, across the country. So, yes, I am doing. I'm about actually 2 weeks away from recovery. I saw my doctor yesterday, and he's gonna put me through some crash course rehab, basically, for my arm, and I'm basically trying to shoot for. I have a couple of dates set for the end of the month, November 30th and December 1st. I'll be working for Mike Sparta out of Massachusetts, so I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, my arm will be, capable to go. I don't know for sure yet, but we'll see. But as of right now, that's going to be my first official wrestling match since being, since the last match in Europe.
Right. Another thing you brought up actually on your, you just brought up recently, and it's also on your blog, was that you were surprised when you failed the one test, because you say in your blog and everything that you've been clean for a while. Was it hard to just to stay off everything?
It's definitely hard. I mean, the wrestling, everybody points the finger at the wrestlers, you know what I mean? Everybody points the finger at the entertainers and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But, the fact of the matter is wrestlers, it's a stressful job. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of competition. And it's very physically demanding. So it is very hard. And it's there's such a bad perception of wrestlers nowadays. It's they're all they do, they're just all jacked up on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the pills, you talk, alcohol, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's everybody points the finger at us, but it's nobody's taking into consideration. It's I don't think that all our heroes of the past and all that, they were how can I explain this? We're not all steroid abusers. We're not all junkies. You know what I mean? Or whatever. It's a physically demanding lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's I don't think any one of us would do anything if if the job wasn't so physically demanding. You know what I mean? And it's tough. And you can do it. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is our bodies hurt. And I don't even like to say that because I'm new. You know what I mean? I'm relatively new. I'm 24. I've been wrestling about 5 years, but I couldn't imagine what it'd be like, to do this until I'm 40. You know what I mean? Like Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair. They're those guys are a rare breed to be able to do this as long as they have. But at the same time, injuries have taken their tolls on those guys too. But they're still able to go out there and they're still able to put on a show and a good performance, and that's a rare breed right there.
Did the masterpiece gimmick kind of put more pressure on you to stay looking like amazing?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I don't think anybody was more affected by this program than me. To do these numerous times. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of pressure because my son. The thing is I never wanted to be. I know how the fans perceive like the body guys and stuff like that, the Lex Lugers and the Ultimate Warriors or whatnot. But I never wanted to be like, my goal really was not to be a body guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't just to be a body guy. It wasn't just to sell myself and be like, oh, look at me, I look awesome. It was, it was more, I wanted to prove, just because of, my upbringing and watching who I respected in wrestling. I wanted to earn the respect of my peers and then go out there and show them that, hey, I'm not just a body. I can work. I can move around. You know what I mean? Because you can't be a bodybuilder and a professional wrestler. That's the thing. You know what I mean? You can't, because it's just you have to have some athleticism. You know what I mean? So
I thought you showed a lot of like natural cocky personality on TV.
Well, I mean that's what ended up. I've never not been a heel. A couple times they tried to use me as a babyface. The first time was in OVW wrestling actually against Joey Mercury, and Jim Cornette tried to push me as a babyface, and Joey Mercury is a heel. And I walked out there, and it's just I don't know if it's presence or my smirk or what it was, but the place blew me out of the building. And from that point on, Jim Cornette said I was a heel, and I've been a heel ever since.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you?
I guess if you just don't, I guess I just rub people the wrong way if you don't know me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most people who know me, like me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know me too well, you might get the wrong impression.
Mm-hmm. Well, wrestling's a perfect place for that. Like, I'm naturally hated, so you can act. But I actually got a call here. Get the Flea.
Yes, you do.
You got a question?
Yeah, I do. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, actually, believe it or not.
That's what I like to hear. I want to wish you all the best. I'm just wondering who your heroes were growing up.
Okay. Well, when I was a young kid, Ultimate Warrior. I know a lot of people listening to this are like, ah. But you know what? We were all kids at one point. I mean, we all watched that, and these, the Ultimate Warrior, for instance, is a perfect example of a guy. I mean, and Hulk Hogan and all those guys, they were larger than life. You know what I mean? And I mean, I know Ultimate Warrior didn't throw the best clothesline. I know he was, work-wise, he wasn't like a Bret Hart or a Shawn or a Stone Cold or anything like that. But I mean, I really, as a kid, I the Ultimate Warrior, I just thought he was larger than life. But then as I grew into a young adult, I started appreciating the guys who actually went out there and delivered pay-per-view matches. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's so many instances now, and I know you guys know this, and everybody who's listening knows this, that, a lot of times you'll watch a match on Raw, and, it's not too much different from a pay-per-view match.
Right.
So, like, what exactly are you paying for? And, so basically what I'm getting to here is Shawn Michaels. Once Shawn Michaels went single, and, he really, found himself and found his image and all that, and, I mean, the guy was, and still is a hell of an athlete. I was able to appreciate the other side of the business, the guys who went out there and left nothing else out there, and gave the fans a pay-per-view match, that was worth paying $30 for or $40 for, whatever it is at this point.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's hard to give to appeal to both fans, to the fans that just want to see a larger-than-life personality, and the fans that want to see someone who delivers, these tremendous matches in the ring?
Well, you know what, I think the two can complement each other. I mean, one of my favorite matches and one of my highlights was being able to wrestle Shawn Michaels on pay-per-view. I thought, that was an amazing experience. And you take a guy, who's built a body guy like me. You know what I mean? And then you got Shawn Michaels, a legend. You know what I mean? And the match turned out, I was very, very everybody was very happy with the match. and it's definitely one of the highlights of my career. So I mean, I think, you know, there's definitely need for both. You know what I mean? Because you know, when you look at these guys who look like you know, Batista or, you know, me at one point or whatever, you know, it's almost, you know, it's not only wrestling, it's almost like an attraction. You know, it's like, wow, look at that, like, you know, like, that's amazing. You don't just see that walking around the street every day. You know, you're not going to get that out of some other guys, but you're going to get a hell of a performance out of those other guys.
Right. Actually, so, just to bring up quick, when we had Daivari on, he basically said the same thing, that when he was a kid, he was a big Hogan fan, and then later, when his taste changed, when he was a little bit older, then he became, you know, Shawn Michaels fan.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? I got to say, like, it's funny because I'm sure most of the guys you've interviewed, especially the younger guys like me, Daivari, or whoever else, I mean, they're going to give you probably the same response. You know what I mean? Because you know, of course, you know, we're around the same age group, and we grew up on these guys. And you know what? To me, like, even probably to this day, you know, if I was a kid and I was watching wrestling, it didn't necessarily matter if the clothesline looked like it connected or the punch or whatever. You know what I mean? Because they really push a stiff style in WWE now. You know what I mean? Not like Japan or anything like that, but you know, they like, you know, UFC's out, you know, you got all the shoot fighting and all that out there, and it's like, you know, it is, they push you, it's full contact. I mean, you know, obviously, I mean, look at me, I'm hurt, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And look how many guys have been dropping, you know? I mean, I'm not the only one. I mean, like, geez, it seems like every month somebody goes down.
Yeah. Did you have anything else, Wood?
I have a strange question, if you wouldn't mind answering.
Well, shoot, maybe I will.
Okay. on all the wrestling video games, is it strange doing like the voiceovers on those?
You know what? No, it's not really strange. I mean, I think most of us who go into that are just thinking about how much of an easy payday it is, because it is. It's you get a nice.
That's true. No one's going to punch you that day.
Thank you.
Are you there?
All right, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
See, a lot of callers here. They keep calling in and they hang up.
Okay, I don't want to bogart the line. All right, thanks a lot.
We got Ryman here on the line?
Yeah, those other callers are failing the Master Lock Challenge.
Did you have a question? What was the question?
Yeah, what did you think about bringing the full Nelson in as a finisher in this age of, like, swanton bombs and those really big explosive finishers?
Well, are you talking about as far as all, like, the fancy moves, you know, you said the swanton bomb and what else?
And other moves of that nature, like the 450 splash or a huge rock bottom. You had a more subdued finisher that was pushed as a killer move. I was wondering what you thought about having such a simple finisher. That kind of.
You know what? I think along with everybody else who was watching it, I was very skeptical, and I didn't necessarily believe in it at first. But what you got to understand is, you know, if WWE puts the machine behind something and you're on TV, I mean, like, let's think about this. I mean, I'm not to put myself on the level of The Rock, but The Rock did the people's elbow. I mean, like, the Hogan did the leg drop. I mean, they're all simple finishes. It's just about, you know, obviously the person doing it. It's about the character. It's about the charisma, and it's just about, like, it's about the WWE putting the machine behind it, and they did. You know what I mean? They built that hold enough. You know, those Master Lock challenges, every week they told me I do that, but, you know, because I knew that, like, you know, maybe for the most part, you know, the fans aren't going to want to see a full Nelson challenge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Plain and simple. You know what I mean? I don't think I even would. But the thing is, I mean, you see it enough times and stuff like that, and it built credibility behind it. And the thing is that thing, believe it or not, and it surprises me to this day, but it gets, you know, when I throw up the signal and I go for it, it still generates a huge reaction. I mean, when I went to the Philippines about a half a year ago, and you know, I threw up that signal, and it was just like, I mean, they were chanting Master Lock the whole match, and then once it finally got to it, and I put it on, I mean, the place erupted, and it's what they're familiar with from TV. You know what I mean? It's just like they want to see your trademark stuff. You know?
Do you think it ever should have been broken, or do you think it should have stayed unbroken? To get the most out of it.
Well, you know what? I at the time I was a little skeptical about the whole thing. But the thing is Bobby Lashley broke it, yes. But we went on I believe it was another overseas tour, and they were trying to get me to think of a new finish. They wanted me to do something new, so we were brainstorming. So then I go to Europe, and I still used the signal for to tease it. You know what I mean? So tease going into the Master Lock for a false finish, and towards the end of the match. And it was still, in Europe, it was still generating such a huge reaction that I was like, you know what, just because one guy broke it. And luckily the company came to me with this before I even said anything, because this is what I was thinking. But I'm like, you know what, they pumped this hole for so long, and they really actually did somehow, some way. Well, I mean, I don't want to say just them, you know what I mean? The combination of me and the company, we actually got the full Nelson over, and I don't think it was worth throwing away just because one guy broke it. You know what I mean? Especially after like I said, the reaction in Europe.
Right. I mean, people broke out of Ric Flair's figure 4 times, and it's still one of the most over moves of all time. Did you have anything else, Ryan? Because we got a lot of callers here.
When you came back from one absence, your physique had changed, and they had a backstage segment where Triple H actually made fun of you for it. How did you feel about that?
You know what? To be honest, I was kind of numb. I was a little numb at that point, because that was around the point where I just didn't know if I'd gone through my personal issues. You know what I mean? And they sent I was off TV for 60 days, and then They told us throughout this whole policy that we're going to work with you if even if you can't perform up to standard that you did before, it's okay. You know what I mean? Health first. But I didn't. By the time I came back, I just it was a completely different story. I mean, I wasn't working with Shawn. I wasn't working with Nature Boy. I wasn't working with Triple H. I started out working with. If I can remember correctly, I think it was Super Crazy. And, that's when, I started to, really think to myself, I'm like, I know I got more potential in the business to this. Is it me? Is it them? Is it my drive? Is it that I need to find my passion for it again? What is it? You know what I mean? And, so, I was pretty much numb to it at that point, you know what I mean, to be quite honest with you.
You think that's a bad example to set, though, like when someone does come back a little smaller, they're clean or whatever, to kind of take away their push?
Well, I think it is a little contradictory. I will say that. But, at the same time, it's just, it is yes, it is contradictory, but, I don't know. I don't even, I don't, like, when everybody was coming up to me after and being like, that sucks, everything, but, like, sometimes sometimes really to keep my sanity. I love professional wrestling. It's my passion. Yeah. I'll love it forever, but, sometimes to keep my sanity, I just had to freaking, just let it go in one ear and out the other and not let it bug me because, I felt good. But, hearing stuff like that, it does put pressure on you. You know what I mean? Like professional wrestlers, sports entertainers, there's a tremendous amount of pressure on us to compete. You know what I mean? And, obviously with my character, even that much more pressure. Yeah. Because, with a name like the Masterpiece, it's like, I can't be going out there with guys who are 20 pounds heavier than me and look as sharp as they do. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I was just going to say that, actually. I was going to say, if you didn't have the Masterpiece name, if you're just Chris Masters, it wouldn't have been as big of a deal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We got another caller here. Who is this? Make sure you get a couple.
Oh my God, my name is Megan. This is the best day of my life.
Oh, how you?
Oh my God, is this Triple H? Triple H, I love you. One time I got your sweater to sell.
All right, we got another caller
here.
here.
That's the wrong guy.
We got another caller. There's two callers here. One of you guys speak.
Hello?
Hello. You got a question for Chris Masters?
Yeah, I want to ask, how do you feel leaving the business without having a championship belt?
Well, you're still in the business.
Well, this is the way I'm looking at it. To be quite honest, I have some tremendously awesome memories of like my stint in WWE. You know what I mean? I got to travel the world. I got to work, some of the top players in the industry. And, looking back, I mean, I feel very lucky. Not many people go out there and are able to fulfill their dream. You know what I mean? I really, even if it all ended today, I really, I went out there and I fulfilled my dream. Yes, of course. Anybody who gets in there wants to hold a title belt, or more specifically the world title. But the thing is I've gone in the habit so much of thinking of the glass is half empty. I'm thinking half full now, and you know what? I'm 24 years old, so by no means do I think the door is closed. If I choose to do business, or me and WWE and myself, we choose to do business again, I'll definitely, I think I'll definitely be interested in trying to come back. I mean, right now I'm just focusing on today and the next day, and what exactly what step I'm going to take in my career now. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to throw all my eggs in one basket. I'm not going to, just wait to come back to WWE or wait for all the heat to die down or anything like that. I'm focusing on here and now.
Actually, something that Davari brought up last week, too, was he brought up like a guy like Umaga who left WWE, and, when he came back, he became actually a main eventer. I mean, is that something you think about? Maybe you could pursue a career in Japan or, make a bigger name for yourself on the indies or whatnot, then come back, as, even with a bigger name than you had when you were there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's like I was saying earlier, I really found my passion and I found my drive. I don't know where it went, but the last 2 weeks that I wrestled over there, it was there. You know what I mean? I really felt like I was back, and that's what really makes me, think to myself. It's like 5 years of wrestling under my belt. I'm 24 years old. It's like, I don't see myself going out like that. To be honest, like I really honestly don't, and I think that. I didn't necessarily live up to my potential, especially towards the last half of my stint in WWE. And I still feel like I can make a huge impact on the sport. You know what I mean? It's just me. You know what I mean? It's about me. I've gone through so much personal stuff within the last year. And, I'm at a point now, even regardless of everything that's happened, where I'm clear. You know what I mean? I'm clear. My mind's clear, I feel like I'm more responsible, and once the opportunity presents itself, which hopefully it will, I think I'll definitely appreciate it more, and definitely, just embrace it. And I mean, you never, after you lose something and you get it back, I think you're going to appreciate it. That much more, you know what I mean? And I have no doubt that if I choose to continue wrestling, that I will wrestle in WWE again at some point. But like I said, that's not even what I'm thinking about right now. I mean, in spite of being released a week ago, I can't put my mindset there. You know what I mean? I can't just sit and watch the days go by and be like, maybe I should go back and call Johnny or. You know what I mean? It's just, I got to move on for the time being, and then see what happens. Within the next, who knows, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
We got a caller here. Who is this?
It's Jose from North Park, New Jersey.
All right, you got a question?
Hey, Chris, how are you, big guy? All right.
What's up?
All right, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Listen, I just wanted to make a comment. Chris, I just wanted to tell you, okay, I know you got released from WWE, but you got to look, and you're young too, you know, but you have to look at the big picture here, you know. You got TNA, you got Japan, you know, a lot of the guys used to go to Japan, and they rebuilt themselves to the stardom, you know, to the level that you've been to, you know what I mean? And WWE really is going to miss the boat here, you know what I mean? Because you're a big draw, believe it or not. I mean, you got a lot of fans here in Jersey.
The thing is, again, WWE. I mean, you guys have heard this time and time again, but I knew I had the potential. My mind wasn't there, so I'm not pointing the finger at WWE. I think for a while there, I had to, my personal issues were distracting me from what I should have ultimately been focusing on, and that was my dream, which is professional wrestling. But in regards to the other promotions, I mean, are you asking if I'm interested?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely, it's either that or it's burning the tights and hanging up the boots or, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I'm definitely, I mean, that's why, I've set up my MySpace page. I've gone on the internet world. I'm getting my name out there for bookings, independent bookings, autograph signings, appearances, charities, just whatever it is for the time being. And I have two other projects that I don't want to jinx outside of wrestling that I'm going to be pursuing within the next couple months. So that's definitely something that I'm very optimistic about too. So
Right. And you can always be a co-host here on In Your Head.
Well, you know what? Maybe it'd be fun sometime. I've never done anything like that.
All right, the guest co-host. I'll write that down. I'll never forget that now.
You're going to get some emails now for sure.
Did you have any questions from the message board there, Incher?
Actually, I have a question myself. I was just wondering, one of my favorite Chris Masters teaming was you and Carlito. What was your opinions of that?
What was my opinion of what was it with me and Carlito, are you asking?
Teaming up with Carlito, your guys' pair.
Oh, I loved it. I just talked to Carlito today. We're still friends, and I think, I really think that we had a kind of a, I don't know, maybe an odd couple thing going. It was kind of funny. You know what I mean? You got a big jacked up guy, and then you got a guy with a throw, and you couldn't trust Carlito, to save your life, for anything. And I think, I thought that it would have been cool if they let us stay together a little bit longer, you know what I mean, rather than having Carlito turn babyface and then have us feud. Because, basically we fed off each other in pre-tapes and stuff, you know what I mean? Carlito was a very charismatic guy and stuff like that, and it's just like, I felt like we were making some good TV and we were having fun.
Yeah, I always thought it seemed like sometimes they put people together to break them apart, make them feud. I thought you guys were really good together, like you said. I thought it should have played out longer instead of breaking up right away for you guys to feud.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that came as a surprise to us too. I mean, we were supposed to go a completely different direction together. You know what I mean? We were wrestling at WrestleMania. What was it now? I'm thinking 21, I believe. Was it WrestleMania 21 or?
I'm not.
No, it was WrestleMania 22. We wrestled Big Show and Kane, and we were supposed to go a completely different direction, but it got switched up the day before, and Carlito was gaining so much steam as a babyface that I don't know if that's what made them make their decision as far as having us feud and you're separating us, but I think we definitely still had, we could have had a little bit longer of a run. I thought we were doing pretty well, and then eventually led up to that. I thought it was cut a little bit short.
Mm-hmm. Do you prefer working like a smaller guy like Rey Mysterio, where you can kind of play the bully role, or working with somebody like a Big Show who's so much bigger than you?
Well, it's funny you say that, because over the Europe tour, I mean, like I said, I was working Rey Mysterio one night, And then I would team with Fit, and I would work with Undertaker and Kane the next night, which was an honor. I've never gone to work the Undertaker in a match, and I've never worked Rey Mysterio one-on-one, although we have worked. I got to be honest, I can't. It's really hard to compare the two because it's fun being a big guy and being able to take an ass whooping, you know what I mean, from somebody, you know what I mean, rather than just dish it out, you know what I mean. When you got a guy the size of the Undertaker, you know, it's fun, you know, like, you know, I mean, he brings it to you too. I mean, he brings it to you, but you know, it's fun bouncing around like that, and you know, not having to necessarily play the, you know, the big guy, you know what I mean, as opposed to you know, the difference between when I wrestled Rey Mysterio, but like Rey Mysterio is, I gotta honestly say, is unlike any guy you'll ever work. I mean, the guy freaking, I mean, it's like poetry in motion. I mean, you're almost watching the guy, and like you're almost in awe of watching him the way he does. He's just so graceful at what he does. You know what I mean? When he does that springboard flying cross from the second, I mean, the guy literally like hovers in air. You're literally sitting there watching him hover in air, and like, you know, I'd be thinking to myself, wow, you know, this is, you know, it's amazing. It's fun. It's fun to watch when you got somebody like that, and you know, obviously he moves so well and he's so light that it makes actually for a good match. And you know, that's why I was saying in Manchester, we went 20 minutes, and you know, we really freaking tore the house down. I mean, we had a freaking great match, and you know, like I think we worked really, really well together. You know what I mean? Just as far as, I mean, Ray's always an underdog. He's always smaller than everybody, but you know, we had a good little chemistry going as far as just you know, incorporating his stuff, and you know, obviously showcasing my strength and my superior size to him, but then him finding a way to, you know, obviously, you know, fly around and freaking, you know, do all his stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. We got another caller here. Who is this? Oh, the caller.
Dr. Yerlin?
Do you have a question?
Yes. Is this for
We can't hear you. Sorry. You have something else from the board, didn't you?
Actually,
I don't have the foggiest idea what you said.
Yeah, we couldn't understand that one, but
yeah.
Anyhow,
I'm sure it's a good question. Sorry, we couldn't understand.
Extreme Falls from our message board. He actually has a question. He wants to know, what was your favorite Master Lock Challenge segment?
My favorite Master Lock. Let me think. Oh, you know what? I mean, I have a couple that really stand out in my mind that, like, for different reasons. I thought the one when I first started doing it, and I did it with the chick that looked like a guy who was actually Melissa Coates. That was on a Backlash pay-per-view.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh yeah, just the sight of her getting ragdolled was just hilarious. I mean, we were all in tears watching that, just because it's, you know, I was just it literally looked like she's being ragdolled. As far as like, you know, the real deal, like the one that I did with Sean when we were building for our pay-per-view match, I thought was amazing, because it was, first of all, it was the last segment of the show, and it wasn't a match, it was a full Nelson challenge. So like, you know, if you told anybody that without the story behind it, they'd be like, what the hell kind of way to finish the show is that? But, you know, I thought, you know, I mean, HBK is HBK, and, you know, it ended up turning out great. I mean, I thought the drama was awesome. I thought it played to perfection, and even, I remember Pat Patterson coming up to me a week later and just saying that was freaking, you know, that was great. You know what I mean? That was one of the best main events he'd seen in a while, and it wasn't even a match. But and then even more recently, I thought the one with the guy who just got out of prison, if you guys had seen that one, was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
But the guy who I called out of the crowd, and you know, I was asking him all this stuff, and he was like, I just got out of prison for manslaughter. You know, like, you know, that was, I thought that was freaking hilarious. You know what I mean? And that was all. and he did a great job, and I sold that and played it up, and it was Vince's idea, and I think it was freaking, it was funny. I mean, I was a little controversial, seeing as that it was after, the incidents that had happened with Chris, but it didn't really, there wasn't any backlash from that or anything.
Yeah. We get this. I believe the same caller called back. Here's your second chance.
What's that?
Hello, caller.
Oh, hello. Would you ever consider, will Chris Masters ever consider going to TNA?
Yeah, he. I want to know if he'd ever consider going to TNA, which we covered earlier.
I mean, that's $1 million question. Like I said, everybody keeps asking me that. I really feel like I can contribute to the company, and I'd love to. And I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. You know what I mean? It's like WWE. Upon your departure for 90 days, you can't do anything like that. Right. But I do definitely feel like I have something to contribute. I mean, look at the crew they got now. I mean, it's amazing. You got Booker T, you got Kurt Angle, you got Christian, and the last year WWE, they didn't necessarily use me to my full potential, and not to say. Not pointing the finger at them, you know what I mean? Like, a combination of both, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. On, part my fault, part, I felt like I could have been doing more. But, as far as, we'll see what happens. I've been thinking about, that for a while, and, hopefully, I'm not giving up professional wrestling. I mean, like I said, I can't look back and be like, oh, that was it. You know what I mean? 24 years old, done with wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, I still got that fire. I still have the desire. And, the thing is, the heartbreaking thing is I just got that back. I mean, I really just got that back, and I put the job number one. You know what I mean? And ultimately, that's really what you need to do. And, I realized at first I did well. I lost it. And then, once I gained it again, unfortunately it was a little late because, of all the circumstances that have happened within the last few weeks. But, it's there, and, I can't, there's no possible way I could think that would be the end of, Chris Wardetsky / Masterpiece / whatever you want to call me.
Right. Have you thought about getting like a new gimmick?
Again, that'll depend on circumstances. It's going to depend on where I'm working and all that. I don't see any reason to throw away the hold that we invested so much time in. You know what I mean? Although I have expanded. Over the Europe tour, I expanded my arsenal. I've got a lot more things in my pocket now that are keepers for me. So that's cool. But as far as my character, I mean, I think my character. That's just how people perceive me. That's the perception of me. That, like I said, I rub people the wrong way. If you don't know me, I rub you the wrong way. If you know me, then you know better. Mm-hmm. So, and the fact of the matter is, wrestling fans don't know wrestlers on a personal level. So, they see a guy like me who carries myself the way I do, who has that, that cheesy little grin, smirk, and they automatically want to hate you.
Did you have something else? Oh, sorry, man. I was just asking if you had something else from the message board.
Rather silly question, but I'll let it fly. Norrin Rad, he actually wants to know, will you ever grow your goatee back again?
I mean, if I get bored, I don't know. The facial hair thing. I mean, it's just I think everybody get sick of looking at yourself the same way every day. That's why people, try a different haircut or a beard or a goatee. You know what I mean? Just for something different, a change up. But to be honest, I like my face nice and smooth and shaven. It feels a lot better than me. It's not so itchy.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm talking about. All the guys out there know what I'm talking about.
Oh, man. I got the beard going on, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, some guys pull it off real well. Like, for me personally, I think I look probably about 10 years older when I had the beard going. So
Right.
I don't need to look any older than I am. I'd rather look 24 years old than look 34 years old.
You didn't think you'd be getting the hard questions here and in your head, and here we break out the goatee question.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty funny. I mean, I guess we're covering everything from all ends of the spectrum, you know.
We won't. Let's
talk about it all. My shoe size is 13. If anybody's curious.
Whoa.
Oh man, you pressed the intro there. But we're
well, I mean, if we're going to talk about random stuff, we can talk about random stuff.
Right. Oh, we another caller here. Who is this?
This is Carol from North Myrtle Beach. What's going on, guys?
We're doing good.
What's up?
Right.
Where did you say you were from?
North Myrtle Beach.
Okay, cool. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much. I got a couple questions for you there, Chris Masters.
Shoot.
Why did the WWE let you go? Because I was reading on the internet that they had let you go not too long ago.
Oh man!
And another thing,
He's been over that already.
I just now got on here, so I didn't hear most of the
You go back and listen to the archive, and you'll catch it all.
Oh yeah, you got that right. And
You said two questions. Yeah, what was the other question?
Are you thinking about going to the TNA wrestling?
Well, I'll sum that up. But since we talked about it, I'll sum it up again real quick for you.
Okay.
Out of 3 tests I took three drug tests. 3 drug tests, and one of the tests, I tested positive for a substance that was against the wellness policy, which, honest to God, to all the fans out there, it caught me by surprise. I called everybody and their mama that day, trying to either get retested or whatnot, because, for 1 out of 3 tests, I mean, I don't know, I'm still a little confused, you know what I mean? I'm still a little confused about the situation, and it really caught me by surprise. TNA, I would love to contribute to TNA. I feel like I have something to offer. I'm still young, and like I said, I mean, they've recruited a lot of guys from WWE. I'm hoping, I don't know if I'll end up in TNA for sure. I don't know if it'll be Japan. I don't know what it'll be, but I will be wrestling in the ring, because it's just like I said, I can't see this being the end. There's no way.
Thanks for calling in, Carol.
Okay, I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Take care.
I just want to know, when you come up from OVW to to the main roster in WWE, how much do you learn working with the the superstars on WWE? Do you learn so much more how to working with them than working in OVW?
Yes, because it's not even necessarily just, it's about 50-50, like here. 50, maybe that's a bad ratio, but I'm gonna tell you this much. In OVW, you're working, obviously they run practices there, and a lot of times you're wrestling matches in front of nobody because you're just, you're perfecting your skill. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is a big part of professional wrestling is being able to hear the crowd and hear what they buy, and what type of crowd it is, and there's no way you can duplicate that. You have to be in WWE in front of anywhere between we draw between at the very least 2,000, at the very most 60,000 for WrestleMania. So anywhere in between there, and that's when you can really gauge and see what people buy, and that's the biggest learning tool you can possibly have, is working in front of a live, huge crowd. And believe it or not, it's less intimidating than going out there and just working a one-on-one match, with one of your peers in the OVW arena.
Yeah, I guess because the crowd's not as intimate, maybe.
Excuse me?
I don't know, maybe because the crowd's not as intimate, whereas if it's a smaller crowd, you can kind of see everybody. In a large crowd, it would be one just big mass.
Yeah, but I mean, and it's not even specific. It's not specifically that, although that's a good point too. But I mean, really, it's listening. It's listening. I mean, when we wrestle and you put a guy in a hold, you're listening for those people. You know what I mean? And you know whether or not they are, they're behind the baby face or not. You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? Quite honestly, I've been in the ring with several guys where, you put them in a hold, you're wearing them down, and the people are nowhere to be found. And so that's not always the wrestler's fault. Sometimes it's just the specific crowd you're wrestling in front of. But then sometimes it is the wrestler. You know what I mean? If they don't care about you enough to do it, to cheer for you when you're in a hold or just at any point in the match, I mean, it makes it a lot tougher. So, I mean, just a huge part of it is just learning to listen and, actually really just learning to listen. And, I was told that all the time, and, it takes a long time to really register that and be able to, hear a reaction from the crowd and know what to do from that point on, whether it be sell or whether it be capitalize on a false finish or whatnot. But also, I have to say that there's been a lot of, everybody's very, very helpful as far as the roster goes. I mean, it is like a family atmosphere. When I went to SmackDown, I really felt like that family type atmosphere. You know what I mean? Because it almost felt like, you feel like a bit of an underdog situation because Raw has been around for years.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching Raw. We've all been watching Raw for years, and SmackDown is, SmackDown's a great show. I mean, I think, they obviously, it seems like they do a lot more wrestling on SmackDown, but everybody's.
I was just wondering, do you think a lot of it's because Raw is live? Even though, I don't know, it just seems like there's always a special vibe about Raw because it is live and you're not sure what.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's the unpredictability, and it's just like, Eric Bischoff said, they did a survey on wrestling fans on this, and the thing is, and, I can even tell you as a wrestling fan, you know what I mean? Because even though we're all wrestlers, like, all the guys that you watch on TV, we're all still fans. I mean, we look up to, there's generation gaps within WWE, when you got guys wrestling, you got guys wrestling their heroes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, I got to wrestle Sean, but not only that, it happens, it's happening every day, you know what I mean? Like,
or Sean got to wrestle Flair.
What's that?
Or, you can say Shawn Michaels got to wrestle Ric Flair, which is probably, one of his.
Exactly, and it's funny you say that. I was watching an old tape one day, and I was watching it, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, wow, you got 3 generations of wrestlers here. I was teaming up with Carlito against Shawn and Ric Flair, and it's like you got Ric Flair, who Shawn Michaels emulated and idolized or whatever however you want to say it, and then then there's my group, which is obviously. The new breed or the young group coming up out of the system, and it's a funny thing to think about. It's like, wow, you got you got 3 different generations here. You know what I mean? Of people who looked up to each other, and it's a really cool thing. It's a really, and we're really, I was very lucky and privileged to have those people around because it really, it fires you up, you know what I mean? These are, like I
must
said,
be a confidence boost too. Be a confidence boost to be in the ring with, Ric Flair as legend or Shawn Michaels.
What's the question?
I was wondering, is it like a big confidence boost to be even, in the ring with those guys?
Oh yeah, it definitely was. I got to be honest. When you're working with guys like that. You're even more confident about going into the ring. The reason being, these guys have been through it all. They've been through you know what I mean? They've been wrestling so long, and they're so good that you just know that if something gets messed up, you know what I mean? Like, it's either way, it's going to be fixed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We got a caller here. Do you have a question that's not about him going to TNA?
Yeah, Chris Masters. This is Brett the Hitman Hart. Listen, you're not the only one who's been screwed by Vince McMahon.
All right. Well,
thanks for the call, Brett.
That's going to be the end of the callers here tonight.
Oh, goodness.
Let everybody know if you want to book Chris Masters. You can email masterpiece83@gmail.com. You can call 310-663-6811, or you can visit his MySpace, which is myspace.com/Chris Mordetsky official. We'll have all the links up on the website. And I was going to say,
thank you for that plug, of course.
We told Chris beforehand we never have problems with the callers, and of course they went out of their way to prove us wrong tonight.
That wasn't even a good Bret Hart.
Who cares?
Yeah, right.
Who cares?
Did you have anything? Did you have another one from the board, didn't you?
Let's see. We have another message board question. Piece of Dirt is actually the man's name. I don't know why you would pick such a name, but he wants to know, were you a big fan of Lex Luger?
What's the name he picked?
Piece of Dirt.
Piece of Dirt.
Right.
I'm hoping that's an inside joke or something like that.
It was actually a worse name at one time, and I asked him to clean it up. That's a good story.
It's either an inside joke or it's a really stupid name.
Right. And that's coming from the man 1 Inch Bicep.
Oh, man.
What was the question?
Who am I to judge names?
Right.
But anyhow, he wants to know, growing up, were you a big Lex Luger fan?
Was I a Lex Luger fan?
Yeah.
No. Not even the least bit. And that's why I clarify that. Like, when I first came up there, everybody, they make Lex Luger comparisons or Rick Rude, whoever else. I mean, I was a Rick Rude fan. I'll say that. Like, if we're going to talk about the body guys. We can talk the body guys. Lex Luger, he never really did anything for me. You know what I mean? As for, I think a lot of people can concur with that same thing. You know what I mean? Like, although he did have a successful career, it's an unfortunate, the shape he's in now and everything. From what I hear, I don't know, I don't know the details or anything specifically, but I heard he's going through some trouble. But Rick Rude, I thought was awesome. Rick Rude was he played that gimmick up amazing, and he was a guy that I studied before I went into WWE. Once I was developed to be my character, because at that point I had already established that I was going to be Chris Masters, the masterpiece in OVW, and Paul Orndorff was another guy that WWE really pushed for me to watch, and they even had me work out with him when I first started wrestling up there. When WrestleMania came out here to LA, I worked out with Paul Orndorff about 4 days in the ring. They have a ring set up, you know what I mean, at the hotel, and so I got to work out with him, which was really cool, and I just familiarized myself with some of his style, because I think Vince's first impression of me was I reminded him of Paul Orndorff. So he wanted me to take a look at Paul and see, he was he was a cocky guy and all that. He had body, but he was also very intense. You know what I mean? And it was about that was the one thing that I was struggling with towards the end, is finding that intensity. And over the right actually before I left, unfortunately, is where I really freaking found that intensity, and I was like, you know what I mean? I felt, I was really feeling it, getting up, I guess very emotionally involved in the match.
Is that where the cape came from? Because I know Paul Orndorff's always a big advocate for fancy robes and that kind of stuff.
They kind of pitched it. They wanted me to wear a robe. I mean, what's old is new, and even now and back at that point, they were reinventing some past characters of the past with tweaks. Obviously, you know what I mean. I'm never going to be Paul Orndorff. You know what I mean. I'm going to be Chris Mordetsky or formerly Chris Masters, whatever. But what's old is new, and they were really trying to. They did that with quite a few people. If you look back around that time frame, and you'll even notice it nowadays still. You know what I mean?
I think Umaga is pretty much a throwback to the kind of Simone Savage characters.
Yeah, well, and JBL was they almost from what I was understanding, they took the Ted DiBiase character, and it was basically almost a tweak of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the same thing by any means. But that's why I'm saying, what's old is new. They just took what was old. They found the right people. They tweaked it, and then it's about making it your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on here tonight. So I know you got something else coming up here pretty soon. So, anything you want to tell your fans out there before I let you go?
I just want to thank everybody for their support, and you haven't seen the last of Chris Mordetsky, formerly the Masterpiece, and yes, I'm not, like I said, I'm not hanging up the boots, I'm not burning the tights, and as far as TNA and, Japan and all these places everybody's asking me about, time will tell, you know what I mean? I think everybody, a lot of the quote-unquote smart marks out there, there's a 90-day clause, once you've been released. So, we'll see what happens. But for the meantime, I am taking indie bookings, appearances, signings, all that stuff, basically just because I don't want to freaking sit around on my butt for 90 days.
Right.
I want to work, regardless. So, anyways, I think you told me you said you were going to put a link up on your site, right?
Yeah, we'll put all the links right up on the site, up on inyourheadonline.com.
Yeah, well, like I said, anybody, email address is masterpiece83@gmail.com for bookings, and I don't have that phone number on me. Well,
it's 310-663-6811.
Yes, and that's Vess Marinova. She's doing all my bookings and everything, so contact her for any bookings or anything of that nature, even if it's charity at the,
Mm-hmm. Well,
anyways, and that's in closing. It's just you haven't seen the last of me.
We really appreciate coming on tonight.
Oh, definitely.
I appreciate you having me.
Hour and 25 minutes. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. This is Sean Stasiak, and you're tuned in to InYourHeadOnline.com.